Hi everyone, I'm Matthew Moniz, and this is the Lenovo Legion Y720. This is a 15-inch gaming laptop which starts at $1,150 and comes packed with a GTX 1060. It's ready to game and it's ready for VR, but is it ready for your wallet? Let's find out. Now, I got mixed feelings about the design of this laptop. It has different demographics all over it. You have the red and black, which speaks to gamers, that younger crowd. Then you have the premium materials, which speaks to people who are looking for something mid-range. But then you have this weird plaid pattern going across the front and the bottom of the laptop, which kind of targets senior citizens. Now, you're taking all these demographics, mixing them together, and you get a very unique looking laptop. With that being said, I kind of dig the look, but what I don't dig is the weight of this laptop. It's 6.8 pounds, putting it on the heavier side, so it is a little bit heavier than the Helios 300, but not nearly as heavy as the Alienware 15. Looks aside, at least it has all the ports you'll need with an HDMI port, 2 USB 3.0 ports, a mini display port, and a Thunderbolt 3 port on the right. The left has a power connector, Ethernet jack, another USB 3.0 port, and an audio jack. Now, unfortunately, there is no SD card slot. Remove a bunch of screws and you get inside, and on the bottom left, you have a 2.5-inch hard drive. This is a regular hard drive. It can be swapped out for an SSD or for something bigger if you want. Right beside it is a 256 gigabyte NVMe SSD, got really good read and write speeds, and just beside that, you have the battery, which is a little bit on the small side. There's 2 fans with 2 heat sinks running across the top to cool the CPU and GPU, and the memory is directly in the middle of the laptop that's being protected by sheathing. Very easy to remove, you just pop it open and you can upgrade the RAM up to 32 gigabytes. The display on my review unit is 4K. It's not bad. It does get bright enough. I did find the colors to be a tad flat. In terms of color accuracy, if you're buying this as a gaming laptop to do some content creation, it's much better than the typical full HD panels that we've been seeing on more budget laptops. It's not quite 100% sRGB, but it's pretty close. So I'd say it's a good option for a casual content creator. Now, it is only 60 Hertz, so you're not gonna get that fast refresh rate, and there is no G-Sync. But for those of you out there who are buying it strictly for gaming, don't waste your money on the 4K model. Get the 1080p version instead. The 1060 inside is perfect for that resolution. So this is what the webcam looks like. It's 720p, so HD. The coloring is not too bad. I think it's fine for video conferencing and of course, streaming video games. Lenovo always does a good job with their keyboards. Even though this one's not mechanical, it does feel pretty close to it. The U-shaped keys, the 1.5 millimeters of travel distance make for a very comfortable typing experience. There's also tons of space between each key, so nothing feels cramped. Now, if you love RGB, you can customize this keyboard to whatever colors you want. There's 3 different zones, and you can set up 3 different profiles that will change every time you change the backlighting. The touchpad on the Y720 is really good. Usually at this price point, you don't get the best touchpads on gaming laptops, but Lenovo did a good job. It's accurate, gestures work well, and it's significantly better than the one on the Y520, which has those weird buttons that make it really hard to click. So here's something interesting. Inside, there's a built-in Wi-Fi module for an Xbox controller. So you don't have to hook up a wired controller to a USB port. If you have a Wi-Fi controller that's used for the Xbox, it will automatically pair and work with this laptop. The sound is exceptional. One of the biggest features of this laptop. This thing can fill up a large room with no problems. Even at max volume, it didn't distort. I found the highs to be exceptional. You could really hear vocals well. Mids were nice and clean, and there's even bass. And it's doing all this through 2 speakers on the front and a subwoofer on the bottom. Now, the audio is fine-tuned by JBL, and there's also equalization presets by Dolby. I found the music one to be the best, but if you want more of a surround sound effect, you can choose gaming mode or video mode. Now let's talk about performance. My model is completely spec'd out with the 4K display, an i7-7700HQ processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM, you got 256 gigabytes of NVMe storage, and an extra 1 terabyte hard drive. Now here's the thing, if you are buying this just to game, don't get the 4K model, get the full HD version because the 1060 inside is perfect for gaming at 1080p with settings set to high. Of course, this can handle all the little things like day-to-day tasks, but it also handles games really well. In Overwatch, I was getting way above 60 frames per second without any issues with settings set to epic. In PUBG, it's much more graphically intensive. I had to lower the settings down to about medium in order to get a good frame rate. And finally, with Battlefield 1, I was easily getting 70 to 75 frames per second with settings set to high. Now obviously here are a bunch of more games that I played with this laptop to give you a better idea on how it performs. Heat management is pretty typical to the laptops that I've been testing lately, so if you're running a lot of games under full load, it will heat up. You'll get about 90 to 95 degrees temperatures on the CPU. It will start to thermal throttle, but again, this is under significant load. The surface temperature is also hot, not hot to the touch, but it gets around 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. Now, when it comes to sound, or when the laptop is idling, it gets to around 35 to 38 decibels, so it's not too loud. But under full load, the fans do kick in and you do notice them getting up to about 44 decibels. Battery life is not bad. I get about 5 to 6 hours of regular use. So this is like browsing the web, watching movies, and doing typical day-to-day stuff. Gaming, on the other hand, is not so great. You'll probably get about an hour and a half to 2 hours before needing to charge. But again, this is very typical for a gaming laptop. So here's what I think of the Legion Y720. The design you're either gonna love or hate. You're either gonna really dig it, or you're gonna think it looks like your grandfather on an end-of-life crisis. The keyboard is fantastic. The sound is exceptional. It has a good touchpad. The materials are premium with its metal lid and bottom, and there's good performance. The only thing that it falls short of is could have better battery life, runs a little bit too hot, and the price is a little bit higher to competing products like the Acer Helios 300. I think if you're on a budget, you should still probably lean towards the Helios 300, but if you want something more in the mid-range, the Lenovo Y720 is not a bad option. So that pretty much wraps up my review of the Legion Y720. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments below. Is this something you can see yourself buying, or do you have an eye on a more prettier design? Thanks again for watching. Hit the like button if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.